How's that sounding to you?
What you got, what you got, what you got? Something growing strong underground from the choppers, pulled over for no reason by the pig-faced coppers.
Testicles, 1, 2. Hello, haven't made one of these in a while. This is a movie, Meantime, and I believe it's episode number 5, maybe? Something like that. I'm Mean Dave, for those who are watching this channel and you have no idea who the hell this is. Probably got other problems. But the reason why I'm doing a movie Meantime, if you need any explanation, if you've never watched these before, I made 4 of these about a year or 2 ago or something. And they're basically little chroniclings of forgotten movies that I enjoyed, but also I felt didn't get what they deserve. They're better movies than people make them out to be. A lot of these you probably haven't heard of. They're underappreciated, widely underknown. They should be more well received by today's audiences based on what I see as popular. In general, if you just love movies and if you haven't heard of these, check them out. The reason why I wanted to do one now is because I've been looking for this movie online to stream. The ownership is unknown. It was only available in like French or something on YouTube. No streamers have it. I'm not buying it again. I own the DVD, even though I barely watch any of my DVDs anymore. But just in case my internet goes out, I still can watch movies if I need to. So this movie is called The Funeral. There's a couple movies called The Funeral now, but this is one from 1996. And it is a movie by Abel Ferrara. He's mostly known early on. He made some underground hits, Driller Killer and Miss 45, which is also hard to find, Miss 45 in particular. Then he went on to a little more notoriety. He made some movies that more people have seen, King of New York. Bad Lieutenant is the one that is probably most well known. The first Bad Lieutenant, the original Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel, not the one with Nicolas Cage later on. And he made 3 other movies after Bad Lieutenant. A couple of them were some studio films. And if you know Abel Ferrara's work, and if you know of Abel Ferrara, he's a character. Abel Ferrara kind of made himself a joke on Conan O'Brien. I believe you can find some YouTube clips of him being really weird on Conan O'Brien. The 3 movies he made after Bad Lieutenant were Body Snatchers, which was a studio film, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but he made another adaptation in 1993. He also made the widely known but somewhat controversial, and I will be honest, I never saw it, or if I did, I forgot about it, a movie called Dangerous Game, with also Harvey Keitel, and Madonna was in it. And that was supposed to be like a big hit because of Madonna's name being in it at some of the height of her career. And Abel Ferrara kind of used her being in it and made a different movie than she thought she was in. But I never really cared about that movie. He also made a movie called The Addiction that was really cool. That was a vampire movie, kind of a vampire allegory for addiction, drug addiction and all that. I did see that. Don't remember it very well, but I thought it was cool. But the movie that did leave an impression on me, because I am a big fan of King of New York and Bad Lieutenant, and this movie is kind of in that vein, and that is the movie The Funeral, starring, if you'll look, you can see some real stars on there. That's Christopher Walken. That's Benicio del Toro. That is Chris Penn. And it doesn't end there. The Funeral was a movie. I remember hearing about it. I remember when I saw it on cable. I didn't get to see a theater run of it. It was pretty underground. I mean, it was independently made, but it was well received, too. It also had the writer Nicholas St. John, who was the writer of King of New York. Ferrara is known as being an inherently New York director. Kind of one of these dudes, if you ever saw him, he's just encompasses all things old school New York. The way he talks, the way he acts. And he's part of that art scene out there. Excuse me. This movie, though, what happened was last night, I was up late and I was checking out some of my movie Meantimes, just going and check them out, how they've held up, just watching them and stuff. The Funeral, I forgot about, and it was in my list of movie Meantimes I wanted to get to. So I looked it up on YouTube, because sometimes you can find full movies available on YouTube that are not available anywhere. And it's on YouTube in English. And I was fucking overjoyed. I even shared the link with Nina G, because she's never seen this movie, and being that she loves all things Italian, I sent it to her. I'm like, you're going to love me for sending this movie. If there's a movie that's Italian-American, it's this. The Funeral takes place in I forget the exact year, but it looks like the 30s, 40s, whatever. It's at a time when communism, it wasn't the Red Scare yet in America. It was still kind of being pitched, and there was American communism. You've seen some hints of that in Oppenheimer. There were a lot of Americans that were exploring the possibility of communism working in America. It wasn't the Red Scare of like USSR style communism or all the dumb shit that people are paranoid about today, where they don't understand what it is and socialism and all. And I don't even really fully understand. I don't want to pretend like I know. I don't read on this shit. I just know it ain't nothing to be scared of. It's just something to get people whipped up in a frenzy over shit they don't know about. But the funeral, it feels like it's pre-World War II. So I want to say it could be the 40s. Walken, Chris Penn, and this dude, one of my favorite problematic actors, Vincent Gallo. They are brothers. Funny, they look nothing alike, but they're brothers, part of an Italian mafia-related family. And the movie starts off at a funeral. It all starts with a funeral of Vincent Gallo. He's dead at the beginning of the movie. And then we learn throughout the movie what got him there. The funny thing about this movie, too, is I just looked it up. It's on the Wikipedia page. Like when you look at the production notes or whatever, there's only one production note, and that's Vincent Gallo claimed that Abel Ferrara was smoking crack during the entire filming of the funeral. But you wouldn't be able to tell, I don't think. And the reason why I even bring this movie up, I thoroughly loved this movie when I first saw it. It's an intense melodrama, hard-edged melodrama. There's some trigger alerts. There's some scenes in there that are pretty tough to watch without spoiling it all. But if you like the show The Sopranos, this was The Sopranos 3 years before The Sopranos came out. This is the movie that many Saints of Newark wishes it could be. I would be willing to bet that somebody close to David Chase or even David Chase has seen The Funeral. And I only suggest that because there are a lot of actors who are in The Sopranos that are in this movie. John Ventimiglia, that's Artie Bucco. He's in the movie. He has a good speaking role. Edie Falco's in this movie. She has the smallest role, but she's in this movie. There's also the dude who plays the one who's closeted gay in Tony's crew. He's in the movie. Here's the cast just on the list. Okay, you obviously know Chris Walken, Chris Penn, Vincent Gallo. Isabella Rossellini's in this movie. That is a fucking top-tier avant-garde actress. Worked a lot with Lynch, David Lynch, and people that I haven't watched their films. They're a little too artsy-fartsy. But again, Benicio del Toro, this was before he really blew up. So this is 1996. He filmed this before his star was on the rise. So you're talking Benicio before even The Fan, where he has a small role. It's a silly movie, but I love it. It's Tony Scott. This is before Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is before, I think it's around the time of Usual Suspects. Gretchen Moll's in it, a young Gretchen Moll, before she really went on to do some more. She didn't really blow up exactly, but this is before Rounders. This is before Boardwalk Empire. David Patrick Kelly, who I love. You probably don't know him. He's a guy that I always kind of think is kind of similar to Vincent Gallo. He plays a lot of villains. Most people know him as Warriors Come Out and Play. That guy. I love him as the villain in Dreamscape. That's another lost classic. Victor Argo, who is everything old school Martin Scorsese movies and New York movies. He worked a lot with Abel Ferrara. There's more that I might be overlooking. But anyway, the cast of this movie is rich, and even the roles of unknowns are also perfect for this movie. And the fact that all of the drama that takes place is through what happened that led Vincent Gallo to his death. We see it all in flashback scenes. It's a small movie when you really look at it. Even though it's a period piece, they have to, make it look like the past. So that costs money, I'm sure, for the sets. But most of the movie takes place in the funeral home, at their homes, in bar scenes. It could almost be a play. Highly dramatic, very character-driven. The performances were excellent. If Abel Ferrara smoked crack during this movie, maybe he should have smoked some more crack during some of his other movies. But again, this one, got lost. With all of the people that are in, especially when Tarantino was coming out really big at this point. Well, I mean, this is between Pulp Fiction and Jackie Brown, but he was still a hot property. That style of movie was blowing up. There were imitation Tarantinos all over the place. This was nothing imitation Tarantino. This was inherently Abel Ferrara, and yet it got lost amidst all of this, kind of fray for these gangster type movies, gangster epic, hipster movies. And this isn't trying to be a hipster movie. This is a hard-edged gangster movie. It's like James Cagney meets The Sopranos, because there are some very heavy scenes in this, like I mentioned earlier. But The Funeral, you can find it. I'll put the link in the description for this video, and hopefully it will stay up. It's only been up a year, but let's just hope it doesn't get taken down. It is an excellent movie, and if you're into old school Martin Scorsese movies, anything gangster movies, if you like any of these actors that are in it, especially if you like The Sopranos, check out The Funeral. Thank me later.
You can't hear that? How's that sounding to you?
What you got, what you got, what you got? Something. Oh, it's strong underground from the choppers. Pulled over for no reason by the pig face coppers. What comes around goes around, I've been good. People in big cars don't make peace signs in the hood.